A big hot topic, in addition to weather, of course, across all of Northeast Ohio, is the countdown to the start of school. We know it's underway. It's got a lot of people stressed out, Jay, and some districts are slated to start in 3 weeks or less.
Yeah, and Romney, as that clock ticks down to the start of the new school year, there's still a ton of debate and controversy swirling around just how schools plan to begin with classes. And with new guidelines for sports, a lot of parents have very passionate feelings one way or another. We have team coverage tonight. Lena Lai is live at a rally for in-person classes at the Brecksville Broadview Heights School District. And senior health correspondent Monica Robbins has some hurdles districts face with getting athletic programs underway.
We'll have more on that in just a moment. First, we want to get your take on it. So how do you think schools should start in the fall? There's online, in person, or a hybrid of both. You can actually weigh in right now on our website, wkyc.com/vote now, and you can watch the results change in real time at the bottom of your screen. And you know, earlier today, there were actually a couple of rallies held in support specifically for in-person learning. At the Catholic Diocese office right in downtown Cleveland, both parents and students advocated for in-person learning when school returns. One parent who is a Catholic high school alum says they didn't gather to cause a spectacle or controversy. He says it was all about support.
Just to let the diocese know that we support them. They're getting a lot of pressure, I'm sure, from outside agencies telling them they should shut down, letting them know that there's a lot of parents out there that have been silent for a while that not only support them, want their kids in school, but know it's being done in a safe manner.
The parents tell us they want to respect the planning and all the preparation that has gone into reopening safely and say they trust their school system. Tonight at 6 on What Matters Most, hear from other parents, students, and what the Catholic Diocese superintendent had to say to the crowd about the back-to-school options. And another rally is being held right now, this time parents and students gathering at the Brecksville Broadview Heights area. That's where we find our Lena Lai live tonight. Good evening, Lena.
Hi, Romney. Yeah, we're outside where about 24 parents and students are rallying outside of here, outside the Board of Education offices in Brecksville Broadview Heights. You see them holding signs saying we want to be in class. The bee is the mascot for Brecksville Broadview Heights schools. Now, this group of parents want in-person classes and sports, and they're rallying outside the board offices hoping to influence any members of the board who might be on the fence on this issue. The Brecksville Broadview Heights School Board right now is planning to have a work session in about half an hour to talk about what decisions they will have to make for this upcoming school year. So far, Brecksville Broadview Heights has paused all athletics until they can make a decision, but this group of parents right here, they are arguing that this specific community is not overrun by coronavirus cases, and they are feeling safe with the precautions laid by the CDC. But, you know, there are a lot of districts, you know, who are already deciding, such as Beechwood, Lakewood, Mayfield, all deciding to start the school year remotely. So the district here has a big decision on its hands. Should they follow suit? And follow, you know, there are liability issues too as well, Romney, don't you? You know, as you well know, you know, the County Board of Health has made its recommendations. And does the district subject itself to more liability if a teacher or student contracts COVID and in a school that defied county recommendations? So these are issues that each individual district has to consider, and so is weighing heavily on the minds of parents and administrators here.
Absolutely, Lena. Not an easy decision for any school district. Thank you so much.